In today's episode of Voiced, we have a post from r/relationships by WU, and it is about a brother's complex journey as he tries to reconnect with his estranged sister after nearly a decade apart, leading to unexpected twists and revelations that will keep you intrigued until the very end. Subscribe if you enjoy. This is an update to this post I made in January last year. Not many people saw it, but I figured I'd update anyway because I got some good advice, and I don't know. The outcome might be something good to read while having a poo or whatever. Fair warning, this is a lot longer than I expected it to be. Too long didn't read for the original. Sister has been involuntarily no contact with me since my parents' divorce. She lives with my narcissistic mother, who would do anything to make sure I never see her again. I found a way to contact her, and I want to do it, but I don't want to step in her life and mess it up for her. What's the best way to proceed? Update. Well, I'm 23 now. Finished university, starting a real job, Dad and I no longer have depression. Life is pretty good. As for my sister, a few interesting things happened, to say the least. Firstly, I took the overall consensus from the original post and didn't make any attempt to contact her. I did drunkenly check her page from time to time to see if anything had changed, and I found that I'd been unblocked on my main Facebook account. Probably around August that same year, my sister rang my aunt and said she wanted to arrange a meeting with her and her son. Our cousin, obviously. My aunt immediately rang my dad and me and told us the good news. We were both uncertain about how we should take it, but overall, we were pretty happy. They all meet up, and apparently my sister has also been kicked out of our mother's house for some reason or another, and is staying with a friend, and she hasn't spoken to my mother for over a year, at this point in November. The story goes that my mother and her new victim managed to ostracize themselves from all their friends down there, and my mother took out her aggression on my sister. So she stormed out and turned up teary-eyed at this friend's house and has been living with them ever since. She asked about me and my father, if we were doing well, and if we hate her. Obviously, my aunt assured her that we definitely don't. My sister says that she wants to get in contact with the both of us, but she wants to take it slow, and she didn't know how we would react. In my view, that's completely understandable. That's interesting point number one. Just as a side note, my mother once smacked my sister in the face for wasting a tampon when she was 12. I obviously am not completely familiar with that uniquely female experience, but I did get the joy of hearing that moment unfold, just for an idea of the type of person my mother is and what she did to us both as kids. Interesting point number two happens when my sister goes, with her new boyfriend, up to visit our Nan, grandmother. Another cousin of ours, big family, is also present for this meeting. My cousin tells me that my sister told our Nan that it had been a few months since she had last spoken to our mother, which is quite a bit different from over a year ago. Whatever, maybe my aunt misremembered the meeting. However, my cousin did say that she got a very off vibe from my sister, and to paraphrase her own words heavily, you would think had last seen us all last weekend, not 5 years ago. She walked into Nan's house like she owned the place. She didn't really say why she was getting in contact with us, and not you or her father, other than she wasn't ready, and she didn't really say why she hadn't spoken to her mother either. I don't know. I wasn't happy with it at all, and we were all thinking that you two, my father and I, should be in that room, not us. But maybe your mother has made me too paranoid. My Nan is my maternal grandparent. I phone her as often as I can, which isn't as often as I would like it to be, admittedly, and I know I'll kick myself for it. I digress. Every time I do phone her, she always asks about my dad and his new partner, and sends them both birthday cards, Christmas cards, and so on. To me, it just speaks volumes about the type of person my mother is when her mother is more concerned about the well-being of her ex-husband and his new partner. Just trying to get this point home to any doubters. Unstepthense occurs when I find out that my sister asked my Nan for some money to help her out with university and not living with her mother anymore. My Nan, being the lovely little 86-year-old Welsh sweetheart that she is, gave her around $2,000. Now, I'm happy to be proven wrong here, but asking for $2,000 within a few hours of reconnecting with family that you haven't seen or made contact with for 5 years is very strange. I find out about this because around November, my Nan called me because she had promised me an update on the situation to tell me that for about a week after my sister met up with them all, they had been in regular contact via phone and Facebook. Since that week, nothing. Unreturned voicemails, Facebook messages left unread, my sister had taken the money and left. I spent the day reassuring my Nan that she hadn't done anything wrong, and she definitely wasn't the idiot she thought she was for giving my sister the money. Step number 4 is the least interesting. but you'll be pleased to know that my ramblings end here at least. It should go without saying that since the first meeting in August with my aunt and her son, neither my dad nor I have had any direct contact with my sister. On Boxing Day, my sister finally calls my Nan and wishes her a Merry Christmas. My Nan says thanks and hangs up. In January, on my Nan's 87th birthday, my sister calls up and wishes her a happy birthday, and also mentions that she's having some money problems. My Nan rolls her eyes and hands the phone to my aunt, who buys my sister's sob story hook, line, and sinker, and rings me to tell me the quote-unquote good news, and that it's different this time. She really wants to see you. Around May, which is my birthday month, by the way, my sister sends a text to my aunt to see if she has any old pictures of her. My aunt says she doesn't, but that my dad and I might, which we do. My sister sends a text back saying that she will get in touch with us. I know this is going to come as a complete shock, but it's been radio silence since, and in all honesty, I'm fine with that. To me, it's crystal clear who my sister has grown up to be like. Toying with family members' emotions, treating her own presence as a gift, and using it to manipulate money out of people. Inconsistent stories about her relationship with the one person she knows would be a deal breaker if the rest of the family knew was still involved, and terrible at hiding her true intentions. Will she ask me for the photos? Probably not. Unless she gets really desperate and exhausts all other avenues for exploiting money out of people with pity stories, but even she knows that I know exactly who that money is going to. My mother knows that she's not in my grandmother's will at this point. If she does want to meet up, I will bring the photos with me. Part of me wants to bring 2 envelopes, half of the photos in one envelope, the other half shredded up in another. And depending on how well the meeting goes, depends on which envelope she gets. I won't do that, but the thought of being that petty is very tempting. I'm not holding my breath. She was 14 and I was 17 the last time I saw her. She's turning 21 this year, and I was 23 in May. I've had my years of anger and grief and done my time with depression. I've hurt many people and many relationships along the way. I'm still learning what's normal and what isn't, but on the whole, my life is split up into before and after, and for the most part, my sister lives and will remain in the before. Somewhat, because I want to maintain the memory I have of her and not taint it by knowing what she has become. Somewhat because I'm not ready to go through what I overcame again. I've accepted my role in the universe as the recipient of bad karma to make up for all the good karma that randomly happens to other people. I'm okay with that. For the first time in my life, I've been the one in control. As for my attitude to her and my mother, the best word I could adequately use to describe it is ambivalent. They could win the lottery and be on the news tomorrow, or they could get hit by a bus. My reaction would probably be the same. To everyone else out there with estranged parents or other family members, the one thing I learned is that estrangement is the best thing they will ever do for you. Edit, thank you all for your comments. I did my best to reply to everybody, but given the response to the original post, I had no idea this would get so much attention. To the people that shared their similar stories, I hope you're all keeping well and staying positive and making the most out of what you've been dealt in life. Hard times make strong people. In reference to my idea of ripping up the photos, that was always only ever half serious. I wouldn't do something like that. It's petty, wouldn't be fair to my sister, and would only give me short-term satisfaction in the form of a pathetic one-up. I realized that before writing this post. In reference to the bad karma line, I actually think I'm a very lucky man, all things considered. I'm where I want to be in life. I have a fun and happy and stable family around me, and I'm confident in the person I've become. That line is a glimpse into my personality. Some people got that, some people were genuinely concerned for me, which I do sincerely appreciate. The black dog never really stops chasing you, but I get a much warmer feeling from being able to laugh at a universe that is seemingly constantly messing with you than I do from pretending that everything is okay. That's what I meant by that line. Thanks again to everyone for taking the time to read. It felt good to get this off my chest and know that a lot of people think I'm making the right moves. A good amount of people made the fair comment that my sister is still young and still possibly under my mother's influence. I appreciate those people taking the time to give feedback and advice, but ultimately, my life had already moved on. I made peace with the fact that I may never see my sister again long before the events I've detailed out here, and when this all kicked off, the closure and acceptance I had moved on from began to unravel. I'm not ready to go back into dark days off of a risk that everything might be okay. Yes, in the future, we may reconnect, but for now, I am focused on my own life and am content with taking some of the rare happy memories I had of my family in my childhood with me. untouched by these developments. Wow, this post takes us on quite the emotional roller coaster, doesn't it? It's a heartfelt reminder that navigating family dynamics can be incredibly tricky, particularly when toxic relationships are involved. It's understandable why our OP decided to tread lightly. Sometimes the best action is actually no action at all. And let's be real, it sounds like he's already done the hard work of healing and focusing on his own happiness. Life is too short to let negativity tie you down. For those of you who have been in similar situations, how do you handle estrangement? Are there any tips you'd like to share? Drop your thoughts below. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily, high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.